All right. Okay. So I just recorded like at least 5 minutes of me ranting and raving in a great video where I had some great lines, and then it turns out my microphone wasn't connected. So I'm going to start this over again. And what I want to discuss right now is why everybody should really listen to Dylan. I mean, I go back to him again and again, but it's like a vortex that you can't escape. It's like, you know, years ago I got sucked into this artist, into Bob Dylan, and like I never really was able to get away from him. I really and wholeheartedly never really found another artist that I thought compared to him, and I really just need to get it off my chest once and for all and try to explain why I think he is the quintessential greatest act from the 20th century, and why I think everyone needs to listen to him, even if they don't totally understand the rhythms of the songs. You see, Dylan is not about the rhythm. Dylan is not about dancing. Dylan's not about all that. That's all hocus pocus baloney for, the stage show. Now, Dylan is like difficult to comprehend, but in a way, especially nowadays, I can understand why someone would go to that show and be like, what am I watching? I can understand. I mean, his stage show today, I think it's great. Honestly, even now, and he's 70 years old, I still think it's fantastic. And the other thing is that goes over a lot of kids' heads, I know, is Dylan doesn't have any music videos that are like great. I just don't think some artists from all those years ago, for instance, you watch, like, the Stones made great music videos, like, long before anyone else did. It's bizarre. Morrison made some, People Are Strange. That was a great music video. It, like, almost looked like it could be modern in some way. There's a lot of, and then in the 80s, all those artists were making great music videos. Now, Dylan he was too early for the music video thing. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. He didn't adapt well to the music video at all, to that format and to expressing oneself through that format. Dylan is not about fashion in a way. He never used those tricks, I feel, to get his point across. Now, what is significant about Dylan? The lyrics? Is it the melody and the song? What is it that made this guy such a success for all these years? That's a really difficult question. I mean, the first thing that really stands out to me is the fact that he's been writing his own material for all this time. I mean, he more or less never really collaborated with anybody else. I mean, he did a couple things, I believe. He did that rock and roll super group, the Traveling Wilburys, but, that's kind of like, it was just like a one-off record, so it almost doesn't even count. Then he did some work, I know, with another guy. He co-wrote a couple songs with some guy who was in the Grateful Dead. But besides that, he's basically just been working alone for all this time. And I really do feel that he is the most significant player in the rock and roll thing. For many reasons. And, people go over this again and again and again and again and again, because anyone who enters into rock and roll culture at all, in my opinion, into American culture at all, just needs to listen to Bob Dylan. You can't, I honestly almost believe you should have your citizenship revoked if you ain't listening to Bob Dylan, because he really is the cream of the crop, the holiest, the most sacred, the greatest that ever was, is, or will be. Really and truly, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm very open with who my heroes are, and I don't understand how anybody could not listen to this guy. Honestly, an American, what business do you even have calling yourself an American, hanging around with that passport in your pocket, the citizenship of the United States, and you won't listen to Bob Dylan? What the hell are you trying to pull? That's some BS of the first degree, because he truly is. I mean, I can't get over. I could rant about it for days. No one gets him. This generation, they just don't understand what was so great about this guy. And truth be told, it's not even just the first few albums. See, I got a list right here to help me out of the albums that he did. You got the first one, just named Bob Dylan. Great album. Everything about it is perfect. It's just him and the voice, which I could go on about for days. just why that was so significant, with this one guy comes out singing these blues songs with nothing but his voice, a harmonica, and a guitar. It was like one guy against the whole world. And we have to think about when this was coming out, 1962. That's the same era that, Elvis and Sinatra, they're coming off this weird, not weird era, but like this era that was so, in many ways, artificial. And here comes this dude writing these songs. I mean, his first album, he's just covering songs. But the cover songs that he's covering are the most wacky songs in the world. Like these, like Freight Train, like I'm a hobo. I'm driving around the country in a freight train. I'm bumming it on the side of the road. What the hell? You weren't gonna hear songs like that on the radio in 1962, man. So people look back at this record and were like, "Oh, I don't really get it." And I kind of had the same reaction myself when I first looked at it, because they're looking at it through the wrong pair of glasses. You have to look at it as though it was then, as though it was 1962. And he just writes about these topics that even to this day nobody's writing about. Covering, I mean, the breadth of this man's catalog, of this man's repertoire, is so vast, is so incredible, that what he offers us now in his live shows, in his modern live shows now, is almost a sham, in my opinion. I mean, they're great performances. I still respect it 100%. The elderly Bob, you know what I'm saying? I still respect 100%. I understand. Ho capito, ma at the same time, the breadth of this man's the body of work is just incredible. It's just never ending. I mean, you want to talk about John Mellencamp, you want to talk about Willie Nelson, you want to talk about Bruce Springsteen, you want to talk about all these cats that have been floating around, these Midwestern kind of cowboy troubadour acts. And I just feel Dylan wipes the floor clean with all of them. Like, if they were boxers, he has won every bout. He has won every round, man. For so many reasons. I just don't know how to describe it. It drives me crazy. This figure that he is. He's a titan. He's like a Greek god. And I'm not ashamed to say it. Again, I'm really not ashamed to say it and call out who my heroes are musically. Because this guy is not just a hero musically. He's a hero for literature. He's a hero for film. He's a hero for every friggin' thing. It's like you don't find a character like this every day. And after you do follow Dylan like I did, and then you start trying to listen to other artists, particularly really young ones, even such as myself, or new ones in general come out now. It's almost impossible to take them as serious. They're more fun. You put them on at a party, it's like, oh, this is great. But this guy was just l'artista. He is just, I could go crazy about it. Crazy. I want to go crazy just screaming it to everybody that everybody needs to listen to him. It really should be a requirement in all American schools everywhere. They should be playing this guy's songs. I could go crazy about it. I'll try to follow up to this video, but I always lose my place. I always lose my point. I'm sorry.